I'd like to call this meeting of the Harriman City Council to order, January 17, 2023. Before we get started, we'll have a prayer by our Fire Chief, Mr. Brad Daniels, followed by the pledge to lead the flag. Mr. Daniels.
Dear Heavenly Father, when we come to you tonight, Lord, this thing is another day of life, Lord, and I just pray, Lord, you forgive me of my sins where I fall short each and every day. Just pray, Lord, you be with us tonight, Lord, as we conduct the business of Harriman City, Lord. I just pray, Lord, that you just keep your hand upon us and guide us each and every day. I just pray, Lord, you be with everyone that's represented here tonight. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Brian Frost.
Here.
Tim Johnson.
Here.
Alicia Harris.
Here.
John Brackett.
Here.
Travis Kirkland. Kenyon Me.
Here. I'd like to declare a quorum. Motion to approve the minutes of the January 3rd, 2023 meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second.
I'll second that.
Second by Councilman Brackett. Councilman Johnson.
No, sir.
Councilman Brackett.
No, sir.
Floor is open for discussion, correction. Call the roll, please.
Brian Frost.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Alicia Harris.
Yes.
John Brackett.
Yes.
Kenyon Me.
Yes.
Motion carries. Motion to pay the bills.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Frost, second.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Harris. Councilman Frost.
No, sir.
Councilwoman Harris.
No, sir.
Floor is open for discussion. Call the roll, please.
Brian Frost.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Alicia Harris.
Yes.
John Brackett.
Yes.
Kenyon Me.
Yes.
Motion carries. At this time, we're here from delegation. If you'd like to address this council, please come up to the podium, state your name, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. If there is no one, we'll go into reports. Mr. Rowe.
No, sir, I don't have anything for you this week.
City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got a couple stuff to report on, if I may.
Yes, sir.
We've been doing some work, notices of lien on those property we've cleaned up. I think we're going to get those filed sometime, waiting on some information there. Done some work for some deeds down on Clifty Street. I think the property that was going to be transferred to the IDB, we should have that done this week. In front of you, I've got and we can talk about this more at a later date. I don't expect you to read all 5 pages of this right now, but this is an annexation kind of primer to give you basically a step-by-step, 1, 2, 3. Here's what you need to do to annex property into the city. This is based on a review, my review of MTAS documents and an independent review of the statutes over annexation in Tennessee. So that's for your review, and we can get that started as soon as we are given the go-ahead. We'll be with the city every step of the way on that. We've been reviewing some ordinances. I think we're going to talk about some of those tonight. We can talk about that later. And just some other various matters, working with city manager, personnel records, maintenance policies, and stuff like that. So we are hard at work. That's all I have.
Anybody have anything for the city attorney?
Thank you.
Mr. Mason.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. If you check your email, I emailed today the latest report from our fire department, our police departments, all their dispatches during the month of December, but also included really good information. We covered this in the police committee last week, was the total cost for our police department. A pretty good document, so I sent that to you and take some time to look at that. One thing I did find unusual this month, our fire department dispatches or calls actually went up, while all of our police dispatches went down during the month of December. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but again, both those reports are in your email. And Chief Tapp, you got anything else to add for police department? your safe driving class. You want to mention that?
Yes, I mentioned it to a few people, and I'm going to give you this. This year, we're going to host a safe driving class for high school students. Come out maybe a couple of Saturdays and just teach them what safety and about drunk driving and what it can do to you, or drugs, how it can impair you, and kind of have a couple of Saturdays to do that. It's a 6-hour class, and it helps parents with insurance too, if they get this, because I don't think we offer driver's ed anymore. So it's kind of a thing that they can come to for that. And also, one other quick thing. Last week, our retired drug dog, Mex, had to be put down, had to be put to sleep. He couldn't walk anymore. And we got a couple of pictures. I wish I'd have brought it down, but Dishman up here made a memorial picture with a police patch and stuff in it that we hung on the wall upstairs just to honor him. If anybody'd like to see it, like I said, I wish I'd have brought it and I didn't think about it. Okay, that's it.
Great, Chief. One other thing he didn't mention, he came up with a good idea right before the prom for Harriman High School. He's going to, police department will offer what's called a prom promise, and they'll go down, and those students that are going to the prom, our police department will meet with them and talk about making good decisions and drive a golf cart, and they have impaired goggles on. So hopefully we'll just have a lasting imprint in their mind before they go to prom and make good decisions. So that's something else that our police department will do in April or May. We did have one fireman. We talked about this in our fire committee that has left the department, so we do have an open position. The one thing I neglected to say, Chief, you got anything else to add?
No, sir. Sure do.
One thing to remind you, February 17th is coming up. If you're interested in attending the swing dance and dinner with the Cumberland Swing Dance Experience Band, that will be in Gates Hall. And those tickets are on sale right now. Not been real robust ticket sales, so if it's something you plan on going to, we ask that you go ahead and purchase your tickets so we can plan for that event appropriately. Our planning commission meets tomorrow night. One thing that they're going to consider is adding an R3, which is a high density zone for our planning committee. That would really take into consideration for the Hannah property. So hopefully their decision tomorrow night, I'll get that information to you. Should they decide to add that, I'll get that R3 by the end of the week to you all for consideration before the agenda in February. Getting ready, started today. Public Entity Partners, which is our local insurance, we have to do a biannual inspection. That's all of our grounds, all of our fences, all of our buildings, every single thing. So we're trying a new process this year. Our department heads will be working on that and our employees over the next week and a half during their daily routine. Public Entity will have 2 representatives to be out here a week from this coming Thursday, which is January 25th, to meet with all the department heads. And that's just making sure our insurance policy is updated and everything that we own is listed and everything is safe. Coming up this week's our meetings. If you've not had a chance to check the calendar on the website, tomorrow night we do have Planning Commission. That will take place in here. We also have the Golf Board meeting tomorrow night. On Thursday we have the Riverline Committee meeting. Also have Cornstalk Heights Historic Commission. They'll meet here Thursday as well. Next week, next Wednesday, Parks and Rec meet and our Beer Board. And both of those are on next Wednesday night, a week from tomorrow night. Gavin stole our thunder just a little bit just to try and shorten my report up, I understand, but was able to speak with our attorney for about an hour and a half Wednesday night, going over some of these issues we're dealing with before we bring him, and just had really good talk about our personnel records. One thing we found is, I know Councilwoman Harris and Mayor have been looking, our personnel policy needs some update. It's not been updated since probably 2017. Most recently we added MLK Day. But as far as records retention and how we handle employee records, one thing we found when we moved from the old City Hall to the new City Hall, it was done in a quick method. And so as we're trying to go through and get things organized, what's the best, proper, and legal way to handle employee records retention. So they're looking at that, and we'll have that policy before you, hopefully, in the next month or so. Might have been Gavin, might have been John, I can't remember our attorney, we talked about the blighted properties that we have cleaned up and putting a lien on those properties. how that can be associated with our property taxes. I was really excited when y'all passed that, so I went to the courthouse the next day. I met with Chris Mason and Sharon Brackett and explained how this was going to work, and they didn't really understand. They weren't sure that could happen, so I called immediately John, our attorney, and said, listen, I need to get you on the phone to explain that. So last week, John, myself, Chris, and Sharon all had a meeting, was explained, and so we've got that process. Actually, Gavin's working on it today to make sure those liens are placed on our property taxes, those blighted properties, so the city does recuperate those funds. So we're really excited about that. I was also happy to spend yesterday. We had a legislative breakfast with Senator Yeager and Representative Monty Fritz at Rome Alliance. They pretty much laid out what their agenda was going to be, got feedback from the municipalities and the counties. So it was a good morning for that. And with that, I will finish my report unless you all have other questions. Save everything else for the workshop.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
This time we'll go into our agenda under new business. First item, discuss and possibly approve the surplus of the following vehicles to be sold on govdeals.com. We have 2 Dodge Chargers and a Nissan Cube. Motion approved to put those on GovDeals.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Councilman Frost, second by Councilwoman Harris. Councilman Frost.
Yes, sir.
Councilwoman Harris.
Yes.
Floor is open for discussion. Call the roll, please.
Brian Frost.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Alicia Harris.
Yes.
John Brackett.
Yes.
Kenny Me.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, discuss and possibly approve surplus of the following computer. I see Sonic. Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Frost. Councilman Johnson?
No, sir.
Councilman Frost.
No, sir.
Floor is open for discussion. Call the roll, please.
Brian Frost.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Alicia Harris.
Yes.
John Brackett.
Yes.
Kenny Me.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, discuss and possibly approve the estimate from American Sports Fields for the baseball, softball field improvements for $22,920. Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion for that.
Motion by Councilman Brackett, second.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Harris. Councilman Brackett.
No, sir.
Councilwoman Harris.
Don't necessarily have a question, but I did call Parks and Rec Director, Mr. Charlie Jones, to get better explanation of what that was for. I thought that was a large amount, but he explained to me how everything works, so I'm good.
Any other discussion?
How long is this setup supposed to last?
You know, this is probably, I can't remember the last time they've been done, but, you know, if we get it in there, he said in at least 4 or 5 years, we get it, a base built on it, and kind of, you know, keep it built up. They're bringing, I forget how many loads of dirt in here to build all 4 of those up where it needs to be. Not only doing it, mixing together and put it all on a grade, it'll be easier to keep up.
Oh, so they're building it up?
They're going to put it all on a grade where it needs to be doing. The same guy that's doing this, the guy that does Rome State, so they're going to put, and once it gets done, it'll be just like where it needs to be instead of just, like we just go in there and put the dirt and try to, you know, get as good as we can, but it's going to be put up on grade. All 4 fields will be.
Okay. Yeah, because we just done it 2 or 3 years ago.
We had,
If there's a washout or...
right. I think that's what we got when they come in here. I think when Alan was here, he put in there, and I think they rented some Bobcats and done all kinds of work to put it in there. You know, and that's lasted for 2 or 3 years. I mean, I've been here 3.5 years, so I think we can, once we get this where they need to be, I think we can maintain it last longer than that.
Charlie, that's just for, you know, that's just for the work and the, you know, getting it built up, get the, you know, like the infield, stuff like that, and that don't count any, you know, anything new, you know.
I think the biggest thing you said too is once we get it in there, it'll be easier to maintain because we're not going to have all the water hose and stuff in there that we have to actually constantly put stuff in there. So
yeah, I've been around these baseball fields for a long time. Everybody, you know, the mayor can tell you that. A lot of travel teams and everything, and you know, this road process with erosion and everything else. You know, I think we're long overdue to, you know, get these fields, and it's going, you know, we'll get that back.
yeah, thank you.
I think if you look at it, it's 23 tons of dirt coming in here, and then there's 160 50-pound bags of conditioner going inside that. And I think it, like I said, it's crowned where the water should run off the fields instead of staying on the fields.
That's good.
Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Brian Frost.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Alicia Harris.
Yes.
John Brackett.
Yes.
Kenyon Me.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, discuss and possibly approve the appointment of Kenyon Me to the street committee.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Frost, second by Councilwoman Harris. Councilman Frost.
No, sir.
Councilwoman Harris.
No, sir.
Floor is open for discussion. Call the roll, please.
Brian Frost.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Alicia Harris.
Yes.
John Brackett.
Yes.
Kenyon Me.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, discuss and possibly approve the appointment of Joyce Marcellus to the City of Harriman Beer Board.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Me, second by Councilman Johnson. Councilman Me.
No, sir.
Councilman Johnson.
No, sir.
Floor is open for discussion. Call the roll, please.
Brian Frost.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Alicia Harris.
Yes.
John Brackett.
Yes.
Kenyon Me.
Yes.
Motion carries. That's all is on our agenda. We're going to council remarks. Councilman Frost.
No, sir.
Councilman Johnson.
No, sir.
Councilwoman Harris.
No, sir.
Councilman Brackett.
No, sir.
Councilman Meade.
No, sir.
Don't have anything else except for we're going right into workshop.
Yes, sir.
All right, so motion to adjourn to council.
Motion.
Second, all in favor, aye? Any opposed, like sign.